called the Philadelphia Eagles.
We'll tell you why the Giants' win might have been the worst day of their season. That's next. Dog of the week.
The Giants, the little Giants.
They weren't so little yesterday. Fourth quarter, they're leading the Colts by 2, and then Malik Neighbors gets loose.
Well, Jaden Daniels is going to run Offensive Rookie of the Year, but my goodness, Brock Bowers and Malik Neighbors have both had unbelievable rookie seasons. The only bright spot for that football team.
Neighbors had 171 yards and 2 touchdowns yesterday, and then it's Drew Lock. What a day he had.
Drew Lock was unbelievable. Career day by the Colts defense for Drew Lock, both throwing and running the football. Every time the Colts felt like they might get back in it, they took over offensively.
Yeah, Lock accounted for 5 touchdowns. Joe Flacco accounted for this pick at the finish. And the Colts season comes to an end right there. At least their chances of making the playoffs came to an end with this stunning defeat as the Giants get their first and only home win of the season, 45-33. But, of course, part of the reaction at least is, as they snap a team record, franchise record, 10-game losing streak, the New York Post saying the damage is won. They are 4th among the
And to get a win, man, you got to feel great about it. And unfortunately, I get it because I've been a fan too. That you're like, what in the hell are you doing? But the competitiveness, this is professional football. All right, you're paid to win, and you're paid to win as a coach and paid to win as a player and compete 100%. So no, I mean, congratulations to the Giants. And look, I've killed them. You know, the little Giants and all that. For them to show up this way, and albeit against a team, you know, the Colts, who can't stop anybody. I mean, it was a great win for them. And congratulations. They got a chance to win next week, too.
Yeah, because the Eagles won't play anybody.
Absolutely.
Is what you're saying. Shefty, let me come to you because the speculation will now turn to, before we get to who they wind up drafting and can they find a way to get a quarterback and all that kind of stuff, right. It'll turn to who will be the people making the decisions. Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, what is the expectation relative to their future in New York?
Well, John Mara has said that he wants to be patient. He wants to give them time. He wants to give them a chance. And they have really wanted to keep the same thing going here, consistency. Now, that doesn't mean they ultimately will. There are going to be conversations after the season. But there's a feeling in that building that they want to run the course and keep the things the same and move forward with these guys. Now, we'll see whether they actually do that. That's the kind of win that you're looking for. You get another one like that. You go into those meetings after the season talking a little bit differently than you would have if you lost those last 2 games. And that's why these final weeks of the season sometimes shape and influence those conversations that occur. But I think the Giants have been pretty clear that they want to be patient. They don't want to make changes. They want to run it back with the same crew. I don't know if that's what fans want to hear. The fans want to see them lose the game. Fans want to see change. They want to see blood. But that's not how the organization is thinking. It doesn't mean they won't get there, but at least right now they've maintained a stance that they want to be patient and go with consistency. And we'll see if they do.
As I turn to Dan, Cindy, if we could put up the video or the picture that we have of Shedeur Sanders with the cleats, because everyone in New York, all the Giant fans wanted them to get the first pick, and that's Shedeur Sanders' locker, and he's got cleats with the Giants on them. So that was sort of what he wanted. He does project, according to Mel and Field, who I talk to every single week. I think we expect Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders to be the 2 quarterbacks who are drafted at or near the top of the coming year. What do you expect for the Giants relative to that?
Are you willing to pay Sam Darnold $50 million? I would much rather have that than drafting one. I don't think they're going to get one of those guys at 4 right now. And I think the question for the Giants is going to be, because they won the game, Sam Darnold at $50 million, can you pry him away from Minnesota? Justin Fields or Russell Wilson for 20-something million? Kirk Cousins for $27 million? If the Patriots, Titans, and Browns are ahead of you, I would expect those quarterbacks to more than likely be gone in 2 of those 3 spots. Their roster's so bad you can't give up picks, so the free agent market is more likely than that Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward edition.
Well, the Patriots seem likely to be willing to trade out of that spot, right? If someone, Shefty, I'll bring you back in on that thought. The Patriots are not going to draft a quarterback, obviously, so that would feel like that one would be in play. Go ahead, Shefty.
Give me.
Well, yeah, but there will be a cost of giving up the top non-quarterback in this draft. And to go back to our earlier conversation where I don't believe the Eagles will wind up playing Saquon Barkley this weekend. I don't believe they'll play a lot of their regulars this weekend. If the Giants find a way to win this upcoming weekend, now you're looking at going from number 4, where they're projected today, to somewhere around number 10. And the cost of going from 10 back up to get one of those two quarterbacks is going to be prohibitive. So would you rather give up the cost of future picks for an unknown proven commodity at quarterback who could be great, or would you rather then try to hit the free agent market and go try to overpay for one of those quarterbacks? And by the way, that's if Minnesota even lets Sam Darnold get out of the building by not re-signing him or putting the franchise tag on him. I think that's an option, right? Like, all of a sudden, that's going to become part of. They're not just going to let a quarterback asset walk out the door. Right. So if you're the Giants and you win this weekend, and all of a sudden you're picking number 10, what are you doing to solve that?
To some more games. If you didn't stay up late last night, you missed an absolute thriller between two rookie quarterbacks in Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels. Falcons and Commanders. This was a great game. Falcons have a 10-point lead in the third quarter, and then Jaden gets hot.
Yeah, I love that we get backside to Zach Ertz, and then that Mike Nichols to get under that tackle.
This is the same drive. It switched sides because it went to the fourth quarter, and that's Chris Rodriguez Jr. taking it in. And
consistent with it last night. Drake London wins versus coverage, and then they got the opportunity down the middle of the field. Kyle Pitts is going to bend right time, and it's touchdown.
Well short. So we go to overtime, and the Falcons would never touch the ball. Commanders get the toss, and they get it all the way down. Jaden Daniels using his leg.
Yeah, that's the story of the game. Really, the story of the second half. The third quarter's
And the NFC South, because now the Buccaneers are in position to win. If the Falcons had just found a way to, it was right there for them. They were driving up and down the field. I know, Rex, you're talking about how good the Commanders are. Why not them? Well, last night they looked flawed. The Falcons looked like the better team last night. They just didn't get it done when it mattered.
Yeah, the Falcons, if they'd won that game, would have controlled their destiny going into next weekend. Instead, now they need Tampa to lose to New Orleans to get into the playoffs, which is not impossible, but feels pretty unlikely. Rex, poorly handled clock at the end of the game.
Oh, my God. I mean, he pulled an Eberflus. I mean, that's what it's going to become. You know, we're going to bring that up because, like, I thought that was the only guy that could blow this. Well, no, it's not. And by the way, their offensive coordinator blew it the next week. But this one here, it doesn't matter. I'm just telling you right now, timeout, done.
No doubt.
Anything that far distance-wise, anytime you take a sack, anytime you have a play over 15 yards, you've got to call the timeout.
Yeah, and usually your starting point is if you've got multiple timeouts, under a minute, you pop one. Under 30 seconds, you hit another one. And so the fact that they had two and it got under 30 and they didn't use it, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, very well could have cost them, you know, a chance. Because right now, that one win would have clinched the division, correct?
It would have put them in position to do it next week. Yes, it would have kept them in front. Whatever the word I'm looking for is, they would have controlled their own destiny. Shefty jumped in with us late this morning because we had some stuff here. Shefty, we can't thank you enough. Have a terrific rest of the day. We'll check back with you later. Let me go to a break. Coming up next, Orlovsky said something about Joe Burrow last week. Everybody laughed at him. No one is laughing now.
Come on, Greeny.
We'll get back to that in a moment as Get Up continues. And I'll remind you to download the ESPN Bet app to claim your new player bonus, and for a limited time, unlock access to 30 days of ESPN Plus to stream exclusive live sports. Sign up with the promo code GETUP to get started today. We'll be right back. Chiefs took care of business against the Steelers. Is a three-peat inevitable for Kansas City?
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, they are playing at their best right now, which is a great thing, heading into the playoffs, and we've seen them do it, several times before. But no, I think this is going to be a super competitive playoffs, and by no means are they assured of getting back to the Super Bowl.
You got Buffalo, you got Baltimore, you got a few teams that might be able to give them a run for their money. Dan, let's get to a team that didn't give anyone a run for their money. Do you believe Aaron Rodgers will be an NFL starting quarterback somewhere week 1 of next year?
I think on the field, my answer would be yes. Does he play this week and get 500 touchdowns? He's at 499. That probably is a part of this conversation. On the field in the last 6 or 7 weeks, Aaron's been pretty good. Off the field, that's a whole nother conversation. Obviously, adding Aaron Rodgers to your organization means you're bringing in a lot, and he wants a lot of people with him. Whether it's in New York, my mind lends to thinking that he will be playing next season.
All right, we'll wait and see. There's a lot to be figured there. And then finally, Rex, let's go to your adopted son. I know how much you love him. Is Josh Allen the MVP of this league?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But his numbers don't. He could have ran for 2 or 3 more touchdowns yesterday, but he never needed to. Of course he is. Look, this guy, people thought this was a rebuild team, all right, defensively. And, by the way, they took away his 2 best weapons. Slam dunk MVP.
Well, after the game, his coach made his case.
Josh Allen's the MVP. I've been around this league long enough to see MVPs every year for many years. And what he has done on this team, in this organization, in this community, and no offense to anybody else, but I've got a hard time believing that someone's done more. I really believe that.
Also, he said that yesterday. The day before, Zach Taylor, after the Bengals win, was saying that Joe Burrow was the best player on the planet. And you would expect the coaches to say things like that.
Sure.
I didn't have Micah Parsons weighing in on this on my bingo card, but he did. Micah tweeting, if Joe Burrow takes his team to the playoffs, I don't even think it should be in question who's MVP. God bless, he's the best in the world right now. So
I think you said bless there.
Yeah, I don't know that he did. But one way or the other, look, Micah, okay, forgetting who it is that said it, you said it last week. A lot of people have been saying it. If they get into the playoffs, if they don't, they need help. Let's be very, for those of you who don't know what stands here, Cincinnati needs to win this weekend. They need the Dolphins to lose to the Jets. Good luck with that. And they need Kansas City to beat Denver, and the Chiefs have nothing to play for. If the Bengals get into the playoffs, should Joe Burrow be the MVP?
Gosh.
He's had the best season. He is by.
Okay, so this is the conversation, Greeny. I would still probably vote for Josh Allen. So I was the big dummy that said a couple weeks ago, like, the MVP vote is over. I was a little bit caught in the moment, okay? So, no, it's not over. I still think I would give it to Josh Allen. The problem with the whole MVP conversation and narrative has been we have changed the definition. I said this weeks ago on First Take, okay? Offensive Player of the Year goes to the person who has the best season. That would be in the conversation, in my opinion, the Lamar Jacksons. Lamar's season has been absolutely off the charts. Saquon Barkley, absolutely off the charts. Most valuable is the definition. Who's bringing more of it? Are you a benefactor or are you a contributor? I think the guys that make the greatest case to being the contributors is Josh Allen and Joe Burrow if he drags this team into the playoffs. I would still say Josh Allen. If we're having a conversation about MVP and quarterbacks, those quarterbacks in it, right? Lamar Jackson, unbelievable season. Guys get open more than Josh Allen and Joe Burrow's. That's the truth, okay? Joe Burrow's guys get open. Jamar and T are open the least amount, I think. So Joe Burrow, look at this, okay? Lamar's average separation, that's the best in the NFL. I want everyone to understand that. 4.31, that is the most separation in the NFL. Josh Allen at 3.6 and 3.22, that's average yards. Both of those guys are bottom 10. So they're throwing, and look it to the right. Josh, 81 attempts thrown to guys that are covered. Joe Burrow, 96. So they're throwing more passes to guys that are covered and completing more passes to guys that are covered. So are you doing more with less? That's got to be a part of that conversation.
Rex.
Yeah, that Derrick Henry parked behind Lamar Jackson. They've had 450 more rushing yards by the running backs than Josh Allen. I don't think it's close. All right. I think it's a Josh Allen award. I get it. You know, he never put up great stats 2 weeks in a row against New England and against the Jets. Why? He never had to.
Right.
He doesn't have to. Like, this guy's playing in 40-mile-per-hour winds. The other quarterback on the other side that's won MVP all the time because of stats. To me, this kid, I mean, he never had the problem throwing through it. The other guy did. I love this guy.
This is also why I've heard people say the stats prove it. You can't say that, one, and go back to last year. Because last year, Josh Allen and other players had stats that were better than Lamar. Lamar was the most valuable player, in my opinion. That's why I voted for Lamar last year. You can't say the stats provide the MVP this year, because if you do, then Joe Burrow would be the winner or Saquon Barkley would be the winner, because statistically their seasons are absurd.
Look, I've been doing this a really long time. The most complicated parts of it are anytime you make a case for someone, you feel some need, or at least it comes off as though you're diminishing others.
Right.
Every one of the people that we are mentioning has had a magnificent season, one to be extraordinarily celebrated, and in a normal year could have been the MVP. Right now, if I had a vote, I would give it to Josh Allen. Tonight, our Week 17 Monday Night Football matchup will involve Jared Goff and the Lions taking on Brock Purdy and the Niners. That's 8 Eastern on ABC and ESPN and ESPN Plus and ESPN Deportes. Coming up, we're going back to the Kings of the North, slinging Sammy Darnold, and the Vikings vanquish Green Bay. Are they headed to the top spot of the NFC? We're talking about it next. Let's get up on ESPN.
Right back in the game.
Yeah, they score before the 2-minute warning in all three of their timeouts, so they have a chance. Minnesota needs a first down to win the game. Here's your play. 3rd and 2, game on the line.
Are you going to throw with Sam Darnold? If someone told you that in July, that Kevin O'Connell would try to get the 1-seed opportunity throwing the ball with Sam Darnold, they would have said, you're crazy, wide open in the flats.
And there it is. Let's look at this moment before we dissect that play. This was Darnold after the game.
Yeah.
It's one of the great images of the NFL season. Maybe of any NFL season. Look at his teammates rejoicing and celebrating. And there's a moment in this where you'll see Kevin O'Connell off to the side watching it all, sort of taking it all in. And so let's talk about that and him for just a brief moment. Sam Darnold is a great example of a couple of things. One of them is the value of elite coaching in the National Football League. There is no sport in which coaching is more important.